your family. Love your family. Amy love belong, good papa. Love your family. Oh, mama sabe care meu, sabe look out in you. Long time, long sick na heavy. Only sabe look out in you. So love, love, love your family. Love your family. Amy love you, Lord, Lord, Papa. Love your family. Love your family.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to ask if you all could take your seats. We also, with just a few reminders, for those who wish to use the bathrooms or the loos, the bathrooms are in front of the House of Worship on the back. So as you walk up, you would see there are toilet signs for male and female. Just a reminder, but may we have the choir continue singing with the lovely songs. Thank you.
side. Here, Omi to come up here, and then we can organize some more.
Paula's getting us ready for that great day. Paula's getting us ready for that great day. Paula's getting us ready for that great day. Soon as every nation gets together, we're gonna have a good time. For Baha'u'llah, the glory of God. Baha'u'llah's getting us ready for that great day. Baha'u'llah's getting us ready for that great day. Baha'u'llah's getting us ready for that great day. Soon as every nation gets together, we're gonna have a good time. For Baha'u'llah, the glory of God. Great day, great day, great day. The sun will shine on all mankind. Great day, big day, Zion gonna lay down my head. Great day, gonna put on the rocks of glory on the sun and tell them the story. Soon as every nation gets together, we're gonna have a good time. For Baha'i
So the Baha'i faith has been part of PNG since before our country's independence in the 1950s. In fact, this year marks the 70th anniversary of the faith. The first community was in Medina, New Ireland in 1950s. The first local spiritual assembly was in 1958, and that's the local governing council. The first national governing council, the National Spiritual Assembly, was established in 1969. And to date, we have around 60,000 Baha'is spread out across the breadth of our country in areas of Milne Bay, Western Province, Southern, the Highlands, NGI. The Baha'i faith is an independent world religion. It was founded in Persia in 1844. The founders of the faith are the Bab, who is the herald of the faith, and Baha'u'llah, who means glory of God. Some of the principles of the faith include the oneness of God, which essentially means that we all worship and pray to the same God. So from the outset, I'd like to clarify that the Baha'i faith is not a sect of Islam. It's independent in itself. They're all from the Abrahamic line of religions. They all pray to the same God. And this common thread of the golden rule runs through all of them. And that is to treat others as one would want to be treated, love thy neighbor, this common essence of love. So Baha'is believe in this dual moral purpose, that each individual has to develop these innate godly attributes of love, justice, compassion. But not only that, but you have to manifest it in your life. It's like the culmination of all the efforts of the Baha'is to contribute to nation building throughout the country in endeavors of community building, and this is through the Ruhi Institute of capacity building, through areas of socio-economic development, and this is a new area that the community is learning about, participation in discourse. But it's the culmination of what's, through the years of all these efforts from the 1950s to present.
Okay, name blomi Joshua Gubag. Papa blomi blo medeng karkar. Mama blomi merisipik. Mi save lo Baha'i faith lo tutru lo. Mama papa blomi ol Baha'is. Mama blomi Catholic. Na tuplawan te mama papa blem Catholic. Lo papa blomi mo Lutheran. Strong lo Catholic na Lutheran. Lo hablo papa blomi lo karkar ga tupla side waskia takia. Nagat yes big presence lo Bahá'í community inside lo Karkar Island yet. Nagat all community inside lo Watakia side. Place lo Maru kind of more little place. Come down lo Waskia lo Marangis or place lo Mom kind of thing. So got all Bahá'í community inside lo island lo Vivek lo ICP Tumas 1122 kind of sembat lo Maprik Sipikwara Kam Gontap lo Ambunti Treke ke Wasara got all Bahá'í community inside. Karkar almost 20 years now. 20-30 years lo Sipik side lo Maprik to one kind long time lo Marangis Mom got all community school stuff inside. Lo have so misalnya challenge by education, I want to be plus something lo country na. Isla place because all schools run down, all Baha'i school, Baha'i inspired school help lo. All training all teacher, all lookout all teacher, kind of same. All teacher lo style of payroll, but community at support team all teacher inside lo lookout team school lo. I lo mitu all no mga papa no fosi mi lo kama Baha'i, right? Time you come up certain age on pa principle lo Baha'i faith you yet must saber lo truth. So mga papa no fosi mi but olarim lo miet lo skelim. So miet kam na mi pilios okay mi lukim okay now I'm alright. Mi need lo kama Baha'i. One kind lo problem itu same. One principle of Baha'i faith, or main principle of unity. Me, mita sol, but plenty one man, you me puti man, lo building this house of worship. Just lo construction, but also lo groundwork, lo community. I think some lo thinking lo mita sol. Am kamu lo yumi so on gift, lo people lah. Time is like gift them come. Oga taman usai you may come lo help him lo planting flower or when them click something. You may no feel burden, but you may feel him gift but you may oga ta work help him lo give him lo people kan. So oga taman all willing lo give sacrifice lo time lo effort lo come up in this house of worship. Planti lain balukin big plan labor na this na but all man will believe this skin pen because this lewat lo looking mosem this house must stand up strong na mas help him ogata man mul imi ogata go come lo help him.
The house of worship is considered the crowning glory of the community's endeavors. It's a consummation of all the efforts of the Baha'is in Papua New Guinea. And although it's built by Baha'is, it is intended for every person of every race, religion, creed, or walk of life. It's a place for a person to come in, have a, meditate, have a contemplation on a deeper meaning of life, and reflection on the spiritual meanings, and as well as its relation to the material aspect of life. The announcement was made in 2012. The Baha'i World Center made that announcement. Papua New Guinea was privileged to be one of those National House of Worship. And they asked the National Spiritual Assembly to call for submissions from among the local Papua New Guinean architects or firms operating within PNG. Our design was approved. We came up with this concept of the weave. The main thing was to design something that can be built within the construction constraints of our country, like the technology, the expertise. Let's reflect back, the unveiling itself was done in 2018. And then around 2019, initial stages of the construction started. Then it's been a while for the whole construction to take place. It's basically, you see, it started just about the time when COVID struck. When the project manager came on, he engaged local people who were not leading hands in construction, but had some experience. Basically, I can say that the whole structure came up, or the meat, everything was added on from people who had limited construction experience. None of them were an expert or a leading hand in any skill, but I believe they have gained a lot from this experience. Because the major theme of the House of Worship was the concept of unity. And it's quite challenging with PNG being so diverse. And we were looking for a common denominator, something that combines our. And weave became the major thing because people, when you build a house, you weave the floor, you weave the walls, you weave the roof. You sleep on mats that are woven. You carry baskets, you carry balloons that are woven. Necklaces, armbands, even the stone axe, whatever tools that people carry, it's all woven. For the, you find that interior of the building, it's hand woven. And these are like 60 kilometers of aluminum strands. The community was brought in, and within like a couple of months, they just hand woven all the interior linings. Initially, we wanted to express our Papua New Guinea's wooden built culture. It's what you see, all these wooden panels are basically recycled wood. And they were done by local spit carvers. We wanted something that's universal, so we decided for lines that almost imitate a wooden grain. From a distance, if you take a picture, you see, and even during night and it's the light shining on it, you don't really see a motif, but you see wood grain. So that is a reflection of our wood building culture.
And the aeroplane, oh, oh, wonderful love. Siule, siule, bahaula, asi, asi, kuya. Siule, bahaula, siule, siule, bahaula. Siule, siule, bahaula, asi, asi, kuya. Thank you, Bahá'u'lláh, in my heart. Thank you, Bahá'u'lláh. Thank you, Bahá'u'lláh. Thank you, Bahá'u'lláh, in my heart. We'll always love you. I will always love you. I will always love you in my heart. I will always love you. I will always love you. I will always love you in my heart. I can't stay without you. I can't stay without you. I can't stay without you in my heart. I can't stay without you. I can't stay without you. I can't stay without you in my heart. Irabatamona misenita
I'm so sorry for keeping you all waiting. Our National Spiritual Assembly members and Councillor Cassia Rue, who is the representative of the Universal House of Justice, they are arriving shortly. So I'm so sorry. Please, can we have one more song, maybe to shake the vibe up a bit?
Do you want? Good morning, Olgata.
Dabai Namona.
We welcome you this morning to the official inauguration of the Baha'i National House of Worship in Papua New Guinea. My name is Gazina Volma.
And my name is Joshua Gubag, and we will be your hosts for today. And before we go into our program, our sincerest apologies for the delay. Our sincerest apologies from the bottom of our hearts. We apologize. But now, no time to waste. We will go into our program.
Before we proceed into the formalities, we would like to highlight a few housekeeping matters. Firstly, should there be any medical emergency, please inform an usher, the individuals in red, and they will direct you to St. John's Ambulance, who is stationed on site. In terms of the restrooms, there are portaloos along the bottom of the hill and cubicles towards the back of this building. We would now like to acknowledge the following people, their support and presence.
Councillor Kessia Rue, the representative of the Universal House of Justice. Who is the governing body of the worldwide Bahá'í Community. Sir Julius Chen, Governor for New Ireland and a longtime friend of the Bahá'í Community. Governor for NCD, Honourable Powes Parkop, Member for Sinisine Yangumul, Honourable Kerenge Kua.
Sir Cardinal John Ribat, a dear friend of the Bahá'í Community. We also wish to welcome a very special dear guest, Mr. Rodney Hancock, who has witnessed the growth and span of the faith in Papua New Guinea since 1954.
We welcome those guests who have journeyed in and gone to great efforts to attend this momentous occasion. From the Highlands, Momase, New Guinea Islands, Milne Bay, Western, Southern, many walking for days, traveling by sea and air. Furthermore, the guests from the Pacific and abroad.
And last but not the least, we welcome our online audience from all across Papua New Guinea and worldwide. We express our heartfelt gratitude to the many volunteers who have offered their service and contributed selflessly to the journey of establishing this National House of Worship.
And finally, we acknowledge those individuals who have dedicated their time over the years, offered their expertise and sacrifice to ensure fruition of this significant edifice from start to completion.
Ladies and gentlemen, This year marks the 70th anniversary of the Baha'i faith in Papua New Guinea. This auspicious occasion, the opening of the House of Worship, stands as a crowning milestone for the Bahá'í community in Papua New Guinea. It is the culmination of the tireless efforts rendered by the Bahá'í community all across our beautifully diverse nation from 1954 to date. From the urban areas through to some of the most remotest parts, striving to contribute to the betterment of our society. Through community building efforts, social and economic development, and participating in the prevalent discourses of society.
This National House of Worship now joins the family of continental and national houses of worship worldwide, which are icons of peace and solace to humanity.
We will now proceed into the devotions.
Tauni manima hatamonaya guri guri. Lawegu dirava e. Oye mu gaukara taudia e dialalona oi hatamonaya. Bona oi emu urabada oi hedina raidia. Idia ese bedo hegeregere emu tarawatu idia badinaya bona abidadama henia totona. Oi durudia diravae badina oi dekina idia gaukara totona. Diravae idia sibodia oi rakatanidia lasi to edia aina moya gabuna ese be hegeregere emu diba ena diari dekina oi hakaudia. Bona edia kudaudia emu la lokau dekena oi hamolea dia. Momokani oi be edia durua tauna bona edia lohia.
Excerpt from the Baha'i scriptures. Cleave unto that which draweth you together and uniteth you. This verily is the most exalted word which the mother book hath sent down and revealed unto you.
Psalms chapter 30, verses 1 to 12. I will exalt you, Lord, for you lifted me out of the depths and did not let my enemies gloat over me. Lord my God, I called to you for help, and you healed me. You, Lord, brought me up from the realm of the dead. You spared me from going down to the pit. Sing the praises of the Lord, you his faithful people, praise his holy name. For his anger lasts only a moment, but his favor lasts a lifetime. Weeping may stay for the night, but rejoicing comes in the morning. When I felt secure, I said, I will never be shaken. Lord, when you favored me, you made my royal mountain stand firm, but when you hid your face, I was dismayed. To you, Lord, I called. To the Lord I cried for mercy. What is gained if I am silenced, if I go down to the pit? Will the dust praise you? Will it proclaim your faithfulness? Hear, Lord, and be merciful to me. Lord, be my help. You turned my wailing into dancing. You removed my sackcloth and clothed me with joy, that my heart may sing your praises and not be silent. Lord my God, I will praise you forever.
The Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread. Forgive us our sins as we forgive those who sin against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Prayer belong bungi molgata man Mary. O God belong me, O God belong me. Bungi one time, all bell belong olgata workman belong you. Na soy mo long as belong big pela work belong you. I good pela suppose all I behind him, all law na all talk belong you. O God, help him all long make him work belong you. Na soy him all by all enough long walk long you, O God. You no can lose him all. Light belong you, he must show him all long. Road, all he can walk about long end. Na you must, amamas bell belong all. True to mass, you help him all. Na you big pela belong all.
Except from the Baha'i scriptures. It is incumbent upon every man in this day to hold fast unto whatsoever will promote the interests and exalt the station of all nations and just governments. Through each and every one of the verses which the pen of the Most High hath revealed. The doors of love and unity have been unlocked and flung open to the face of man. We have erewhile declared, and our word is the truth. Consort with the followers of all religions in a spirit of friendliness and fellowship.
Excerpt from the Holy Quran. O humanity, we created you from a male and a female and made you into peoples and tribes so that you may get to know one another. Surely, the most noble of you in the sight of Allah is the most righteous among you. Allah is truly all-knowing, all-aware.
Sangkataharu bata bachauna Ishwar bahe kanya kohita Pona Mahatra Paramatmane Istutya Chan Hone Paramatma Sabayun ka seva kahun, sabayun ka agyaharu ko, bandhan bata bandhi kachan, ke sankataharu bata bachauna, Ishwar bahe kanya kohita, pona. Mahatra Paramatmane Istutya Chan One Paramatma Hun Sabayun ka seva kahun Sabayun ka agyaharu ko Bandhan bata bandhi kachan
Sing now, yeah?
Thank you so much for the lovely prayers and writings. We now introduce the chairperson of the National Spiritual Assembly, which is the National Governing Council of the Bahá'ís of Papua New Guinea, Mr. Tony Lakame.
Councillor Ms. Kesia Aisoleru, who is representing the Universal House of Justice on this auspicious occasion. Cardinal J. Ribat, Head Imam Busare, General Secretary of the PNG Council of Churches, Reverend Roger Joseph, Governor of the National Capital District, Honourable Powes Parkop, Governor of the New Orleans Province, Right Honourable Sir Julius Chen, Member for Sinasina Yogobul, Honourable Kerenge Kua. Distinguished guests, dear friends, on behalf of the National Spiritual Assembly of the Bahá'ís of Papua New Guinea, it is with immense joy and profound gratitude that we welcome you all to the dedication of this National House of Worship on this historic occasion. The history of the faith in Papua New Guinea began in 1954, when Sister Violet Honki, a young Baha'i nurse, settled in the Admiralty Islands, now known as Manus. Amidst the social construct of that time, which harbored prejudice and racial segregation, Sister Y, as she was fondly called, embodied a life of equality and togetherness. She spent meaningful time with local people, sharing meals and offering first aid classes at the hospital to contribute to local capacity building, despite the disdain of the colonial administrators, which led to her being sent to Rabaul. It was in Manus that Sister Y shared the principles of the faith with Apelis Magzamat, who became the first Papua New Guinean Baha'i. Following Sister Y Honki's arrival, a wave of other Baha'is inspired by the same vision came to Papua New Guinea to build a vibrant communities. Today, some of these friends join us in celebrating this historic occasion. Their enduring spirit and unwavering commitment have significantly contributed to this spiritual endeavor. Today, there are 234 Baha'i communities with an established local spiritual assembly. The local spiritual assembly, elected administrative body responsible for administering to the believers in a local setting, spread all across the provinces where the total Baha'is or population is estimated to be about 60,500, all of whom are indigenous Papua New Guineans. According to the statistics, these Baha'is, along with their friends, are engaged in promoting spiritual transformation of individuals and communities with 5,547 regular devotional meetings that strengthen the devotional character of their communities. With 23,170 participants, of which 7,758 are from the wider community. In addition, 1,599 educational programs are being conducted with 11,106 participants in villages and neighborhoods. Of these, 6,689 are not Baha'is. These educational programs include classes for children that nurture the tender hearts and minds of children, groups that channel the surging energies of junior youth, circles of study for all that enable people of varied backgrounds to advance on an equal footing and explore the application of the teachings of Baha'u'llah, which means glory of God, the prophet founder of the faith, to their individual and collective lives. We see it in every account of a heart built and kindled with the love of God, a family opening up its homes for new friends, collaborators drawing on Baha'u'llah's teaching to address the social problem, a community strengthening a culture of mutual support, a neighborhood or village learning to initiate and sustain the actions necessary for its own spiritual and material progress, a locality being blessed with the emergence of a new spiritual assembly. This house of worship stand as a crowning achievement of their countless acts of service, each still representing a story of love, sacrifice, and perseverance. As we recognize these souls who have participated in this advancement of communities in Papua New Guinea, we are inspired by their journey, their courage, and their capacity to apply the teachings of their faith to the betterment of the world and its unity through our individual and collective service to humanity and to God Almighty. This momentous occasion also marks a milestone in our journey that began in 2012 when the Universal House of Justice, a worldwide governing body of the Baha'i faith, announced to the Baha'i world that raising up of two national house of worship, one in the Democratic Republic of Congo and the other in our beloved Papua New Guinea. In 2018, the design of our house of worship was unveiled, a design that encapsulates the spirit of our people and the essence of our land. Construction began in 2019, and after almost 5 years of tireless efforts and unwavering dedication, we stand here today to celebrate its completion and inauguration. The Universal House of Justice, worldwide governing body of the faith, has given us the house of worship as a gift to the noble people of Papua New Guinea. In its yearly message that it sent out to the Baha'is of the world back in 2012, the beloved Universal House of Justice stated that the criteria it set for establishing the house of worship were demonstrably met, that the conditions in the national communities of the Republic of Congo and Papua New Guinea were favorable. This is a testament to the unity, resilience, and the spirit of service that characterize our community. In Kitab Aqdas, the most holy book of the Baha'i faith, Baha'u'llah, the prophet founder of the faith, instructed the peoples of the world, saying, O people of the world, build ye houses of worship throughout the lands in the name of Him who is the Lord of all religion. Make them as perfect as possible in the world of being, and adorn them with which befitted them, not with images and effigies. Then, with radiance and joy, celebrate therein the praise of your Lord, the most compassionate. Verily, by His remembrance, the eye is cheered and the heart is filled with light. The house of worship, as described by Abdul Baha, son of Baha'u'llah, is one of the most vital institutions in the world, uniting two essentials, inseparable aspects of Baha'i life: worship and service. This union is reflected in the coherence that exists among the community building activities of the faith, particularly burgeoning of devotional spirit that finds expression in gatherings for prayer and educational process that builds capacity for service to humanity. In addition, the house of worship is also known as a Masjidul Adka. In Arabic, means dawning place of the praise of God. It is not only a place for prayer, but it also supports the social and economic progress of the community. The teachings of the Baha'i faith envision houses of worship being surrounded by a number of dependencies dedicated to social, humanitarian, educational, and scientific pursuits. The House of Justice is open to all, regardless of religion, gender, or any other distinction. It is exclusively reserved for worship, where sermons are prohibited, and where the holy scriptures of every religion may be read. Although to outward seeming, the Masjidul Adka is a material structure, yet it has a spiritual effect. It forges the bonds of unity from heart to heart. It is a collective center for man's soul. Every city in which, during the days of the manifestation, a temple was raised up, had created security and constancy and peace, for such buildings were given over to the perpetual glorification of God. And only in the remembrance of God can the heart find rest. Gracious God, the edifice of the house of worship had a powerful influence on every phase of life. Experience had in the East clearly shown this to be a fact. On behalf of the on behalf of the National Spiritual Assembly and the people of Papua New Guinea, we extend our deepest love and gratitude to the beloved Universal House of Justice for bestowing upon us one of the first two national house of worship. This sacred edifice stands as a testament to the unity and progress of our community, reflecting the divine guidance and support we receive from that divine institution. We thank all those who have contributed in one way or another to the construction of this magnificent building, not least of all are the Chinese builders who prepared the site with a solid foundation and the steel structures that follow, and the teams of professionals who work on the building. Our special thanks and gratitude go to Mr. Kia Fanenian, the project manager, and and Mr. Said Granfa, the project architects. Under their stewardship, the project was completed under budget. Overcoming numerous challenges, the major one being the global occurrence of COVID-19 and its effect on the supply chain sourced from China. A remarkable achievement is the inspiring story of a team of Papua New Guinea unskilled and semi-skilled workers who, under the close accompaniment and supervision of both Kia and Said, completed the rest of the building of the steel structure. Many similar stories will be told by the builders in the years to come. A final word of thanks, though not the least, goes to the believers who faithfully and sacrificially contributed in cash and kind to support the building of this house of worship. All must be proud that your contribution have been vital in the construction and completion of this central edifice. The house of worship is open to all and is welcoming to all peoples of all faith and those who have no faith. Its door will be open to the public for prayers as of Monday, the 27th of May, 2024. Thank you for being a part of this historic gathering. Your presence here today is part of the unfolding story of this magnificent house of worship.
I now call upon Mr. Confucius Ikorera, the Secretary of the National Spiritual Assembly of the Baha'is of Papua New Guinea.
Friends, can I welcome you all again on this auspicious occasion? Not just the Baha'is and people of Papua New Guinea, but indeed all the friends around the globe who are watching these events via live streaming at this moment. Dear friends, it is significant that the dedication of this National House of Worship is happening on the 70th year of the Baha'i faith's presence in Papua New Guinea. The history of the faith in our country began in 1954 with the arrival of a young Australian nurse, Miss Violet Henke, to the Admiralty Islands, now known as Manus Province. While serving in a professional capacity as a nurse at the European Hospital in Lorengau, Sister Vi, as she was affectionately known, befriended locals in the area and then introduced the faith to villagers, despite the restrictions that were imposed in terms of communicating with indigenous people. And many of you know the history, the colonial history of the country. But the teachings of the faith and its principles of unity, oneness of religion, oneness of God, oneness of humanity, equality of men and women, elimination of all forms of prejudice, universal education, and so on, found a receptive audience in these nationals who were seeking or searching for a common understanding of the inclusivity of humanity. In 1956, the first Papua New Guinean to become Baha'i was a New Islander, Apelis Masagmat. He was a high school teacher at Papitalai High School in Manus. A year later, in 1957, L.T. Kunak, a young lady from Madina village in New Ireland province, became the first Papua New Guinea woman to accept the new faith. Now, many of you know L.T.'s daughter, Margaret Elias. She was a distinguished, she saw distinguished service in the public service in government. And her last position was as Chief Secretary to government. She's passed on, but the legacy lives on, I think, in many of the public servants in PNG today. In 1958, the first local spiritual assembly was formed in Madina village in the Tikana local level government council area of the island province. As the village had more than 9 Baha'is. So they had enough Baha'is to form this local spiritual assembly, which, as the chairman had referred to earlier, is the administrative unit or body that administers to the Baha'is. Now, Rodney Hancock, a young Baha'i youth at the time, came out from New Zealand. He arrived just a few months after Sister Bai in 1954. He was present with another friend, John Mills, who had come from Honiara, Solomon Islands, to establish the local spiritual assembly. So they saw the establishment of the assembly, and they were able to accompany these indigenous people and the new role that they were to play. As the chairman said, there is no clergy in the faith. And so these 9 members had to carry the responsibilities. So John Mills and Rodney Hancock helped them to understand their roles and to perform these new responsibilities that they had. By the way, we are honored to have, indeed it is our privilege to have Mr. Rodney Hancock with us today. He's sitting right over there. We will have a chance to speak, sorry, he's standing up, you can see him. We will have a chance to hear him tomorrow. The program is free tomorrow. Rodney will be able to share his stories. By 1960, the number of Baha'is had increased in the Bismarck archipelago. In the territory of New Guinea, I'm referring to the colonial terms, using the colonial terms. That prompted the establishment of the Bismarck Archipelago New Guinea Teaching Committee. Then in 1969, the first National Convention saw the election and establishment of the National Spiritual Assembly of the Baha'is of Papua New Guinea. 3 indigenous believers, Michael Homerang, Gus Dow, and John Francis, were elected in this first convention to the National Spiritual Assembly. In each subsequent year, this assembly, comprising of 9 men and women, has been elected by secret ballot following a spiritual process by representatives of the ever-increasing number of local Bahá'í communities to oversee the growth, development, and welfare. As the faith spread to other parts of the country, an organizational structure was needed to oversee the faith's growth across the country. Thus, the National Teaching Committee was formed in 1972, purposely to administer to the growth and expanding Bahá'í community. By the grace of God, Today, there are 234 local spiritual assemblies administering to over 60,000 Baha'is. In nearly every province in Papua New Guinea. Just as the early missionaries had done with the Christian faith over a century ago, expansion and consolidation of the faith would not have been accomplished without the sacrificial efforts by overseas friends who came in subsequent years from Australia, New Zealand, Malaysia, Europe, and America. Many of these courageous souls took up jobs or established businesses in the country so that they could contribute to the growth of the faith and to the country's spiritual and material development and its progress. One such friend was Professor Cyrus Naraki, who dedicated "20 years of his life to the public health sector, including the training of many national doctors, a commitment and service that was recognized by Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II in 1999 with the award of Companion of British Empire Medals, CBE. Meanwhile, Sister Vi continued to serve in a humble role as nurse, serving as matron in Ley, Mount Hagen, and Port Moresby hospitals, training many young Papua New Guinean nurses to serve the sick and ailing with outstanding commitment, born out of the love of God and humanity. As a naturalized citizen, she remained an ardent lover of her faith in her adopted country until her passing in 2004, when, in accordance with her wish and will, she was interred at the 9 Mile Public Cemetery. Operating under the auspices of the Universal House of Justice, the Baha'i faith receives spiritual guidance and unwavering support from its appointed arm, called the Continental Boards of Councillors. In 1973, Sister Violet Henke was the first councillor for Papua New Guinea. In 1995, educationist Mr. Erama Ugaya from Mount Brown in Central Province became the first indigenous Baha'i to be appointed as councillor of the Continental Board of Councillors in Australasia. A rare event that occurred in 1994, I beg your pardon, was the visit by the then Deputy Prime Minister, Right Honourable Julius to the Holy Land in Israel. His visit to the Baha'i World Center in Haifa, Israel, and subsequently his meeting with the Universal House of Justice brought great joy to the hearts of the believers back home in PNG. In July 1999, Sir Julius opened the new Baha'i headquarters buildings of the National Spiritual Assembly on this portion of land, just below the site of this beautiful house of worship, down below there. Prior to that, the National Assembly operated from Ley. In 2012, the Universal House of Justice announced the unexpected news to the Baha'i world of the special and wonderful gift of a National House of Worship to, as it said, the noble people of Papua New Guinea. A place of worship for all the people, irrespective of their race, status, creed, and religion, or of no religion. Dear friends, with every passing day we see the conditions of the world grow more desperate, its divisions more severe, the escalating tensions between societies and between nations affect peoples and places in myriad ways. This demands from every conscientious soul a response. Heartfelt concern must prompt sustained effort to build communities that offer hope in place of despair, unity in place of conflict. Dear friends, the call to service is an uplifting, all-embracing summons. It attracts every faithful soul, even those weighed down by cares and obligations. For in all the ways in which the faithful soul is occupied, can be discovered deep-rooted devotion and a lifelong concern for the well-being of others. This National House of Worship is the crowning achievement of all the efforts of the past and a beacon of life, light and hope for the future. As we reflect on how far we have traversed, let us commit to strive for the bright future that awaits us all. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the beautiful singing. I now call upon the architects of the House of Worship, Mr. Henry Lape and Mr. Said Grenfa.
laugh. I mean, welcome, everybody. I forgot sometimes. Okay. We'll go. We'll be presenting in 3 parts. I'm going to make this one introduction and talk about the concept. And then I'll leave it to our friend here to tell us about the construction process. And then I'll finish off with some reflections. Okay. You know, this, it's interesting that within our lifetime we begin to have this opportunity to be part of this process. And you know, the brief we were given, or the program of the design, was to have it's universal with all Bahá'í houses of worship. It should be secular, and the general shape should be secular in form, and have 9 sides. Some call it 9 doors, but I prefer to call it 9 sides. So, and then we were to choose something that can, you know, represent the concept of unity. And, you know, in PNG, we have about more than 700, 800 plus different cultural groups. And looking for that common denominator was a big challenge, because nothing about PNG cultural, well, not so much has been written or documented that we could draw from. But then visually we saw so many things, but we saw one thing that was across the whole cross-section of the country. And I believe it's also universal to, not unique to PNG, but also universal, is the concept of weave. And we felt that weave was a concept that appropriately translated this concept of unity into a building form. So when you see people sleeping on mats, they have headdresses, they wove. Roofs of the houses are woven, floors are woven, baskets are woven. Almost everyday artifacts, since traditional times and even in our current times here, our life is woven. Even now we see so many beautiful faces here. We're all interwoven from the soil of humanity. So it's, for us, weaving became the major concept of unity. So, and that was something which, that challenge was to translate that into a material, into a structure that befits that concept. And so we had, you know, it's easier drawing on paper, but to put it out in a form was challenging. And we started, and we have to give credit not only to ourselves, but there were others who helped us to come up with the ideas to really make it into this, give this physical form to this idea. I'll let the fellow who's been intimate with the construction go with the process of construction.
Thank you, Henry. Sorry, Henry is the more natural presenter of the two of us, but I'll try my best. Friends, I'd love to share the construction journey from beginning to end, acknowledging all the contributors along the way, but of course, time does not permit that. So instead, I'll just share a few key aspects of the construction journey. Ground was broken in September 2019, right after, I think, within days of obtaining the building permit. Thank you, Mr. Parkop and the department. And despite the many challenges brought on just a few months later through the pandemic, I'll stick to the script. The contractor and subcontractor were able to deliver a beautiful, lightweight steel structure to the very highest standards. So the standard to which it was built is incredible. The precision is within 10 millimeters, for the most part within 5 millimeters of the global coordinates. We'll never forget the workers' dedication during this time, which also involved a prolonged period of their separation from their families, specifically the contractor that had many Chinese engineers and representatives here. For 2 years or so, they couldn't see their children and their families, and still they, I think, were sustained through this period. Now, to witness the structure rising from the ground was heartwarming and moving. But the true adventure began after we took delivery of the structure. So we had a contractor lined up to take the building from its steel skeleton through to completion. But for numerous reasons, very early on into their work, we realized that we wouldn't arrive at the same, we wouldn't be satisfied with the result, and it wasn't going anywhere. And so we consulted on different approaches, and it was a bit of an emergency situation, as you could imagine. And amongst them was the concept of procuring materials from suppliers, both local and abroad, and working with a construction team here to piece the puzzle together. At the time, we had 4 laborers and 1 welder, 4 general laborers, not skilled tradesmen per se, but with very much with skills of their own. And that's exactly what happened. So we decided, of all the options, in order not to lose momentum and just get the job done, we would do this, we would upscale and respond, recalibrate as necessary. So we needed actually welders, carpenters, tilers, metal workers, fabricators, roofing experts, window installers, concreters, joiners, and probably half a dozen other trades as well. The project manager, Kia, or Kia Jun, I should say, with over 40 years of construction experience, was encouraged by the qualities that he saw in those early weeks and the early month of work on the facade, specifically amongst the local workers, their endurance, their focus, and he, not only that, not only these general qualities, but he saw in each individual worker their strengths and their capacity and their potential. So we decided that we would go about this the hard way, although finding a contractor to take on this project would probably be just as hard. Now, any visitor would never imagine, and especially those with a bit of construction background, would never believe that the temple that you see before you was completed by the hands of about 20 humble general workers, for lack of a better word. In fact, the better term is that these were hardworking men who were up for the challenge, willing to share their skills and acquire new ones, and willing to exert themselves while knowing and feeling all along that they were contributing to something very special. And doing so in the spirit of unity that is impossible for me to describe. Kiajun's role in identifying, trusting, respecting, nurturing, his courage, his no-nonsense approach, close hands-on accompaniment. By that I mean that almost every step along the way he would demonstrate hands on the tools what would need to be done where, and it would be learned as we went along. There's no closer form of accompaniment that I can imagine. His fiercely hardworking nature and above all, his exemplary devotion to the faith. All of these things, I think, made an immensely critical, crucial contribution to this project. And if it hadn't been for his involvement, we wouldn't be here today, 100%. Maybe 5 years from now, maybe 10 years from now, but it wouldn't have happened today. I also want to acknowledge the immense sacrifice of his dear wife, Sholejun, from whom he was apart for basically 2 years while working on this project. For the first time in their life, he worked on this project without her. In the past, they've worked on very special projects, both commercial as well as special projects for the faith, but always together for decades. So for the first time, they would be apart, and I'm sure it wasn't an easy period for the two of them. I'd also like to thank her for her independent contributions to the project. Is Charles Sasa here? Charles Sasa, I'm sure he is. He's one of the dignitaries here today, the representative of the carvers, actually the head carver who brought together his crew and pulled off the impossible. 367 square meters of hardwood, tougher than Quila, I would say, are lining the entranceways of the temple, all hand-carved by a crew of about 15 carvers and 5 people assisting them over a period of around 2.5 months, I would say, but followed by at least 2-3 months of refinement. So after the panels had been carved, they were hung and carved in situ on ladders and scaffolding, which was incredibly difficult, but they achieved what was nearly impossible in our minds. So impossible that, in fact, at one point we had, for some reason, we decided, oh, it would be better to carve them by CNC milling, you know, a computerized fabrication. But thankfully, somehow that wasn't meant to be, and the forces at hand steered us aright, and we ended up with the ultimate, which was what Henry and I initially hoped we would see, but never thought would be possible. And I hope you enjoy and appreciate that significant contribution of the carvers team. Lastly, and there are so many other people I'd like to acknowledge, but if I go down that track and forget people, I'd feel horrible. And there are, by so many, I mean probably close to 100 people who I can think of that played a significant role and had a hand, whether it's in the background or throughout the construction phase. So lastly, we were blessed and stunned to have at our disposal the volunteers from the Bahá'í community, as well as their friends, who for years had been waiting for the opportunity to contribute to the project. And so when the time came, perhaps from 3 or 4 months ago, when things were beginning to be completed and work on landscaping intensified, the response was incredible. All we needed to do was make a call, and the following morning, either 20, 50, or up to 170 friends of all ages, and men, women, children, the elderly, everyone had a hand in moving, I would say, hundreds of cubic meters of topsoil, sand, the gravel that you see beneath your feet. This was all done by volunteers over very intense periods. Not just, I'm not saying 2 hours, 3 hours, but days, weeks, and in several cases I can think of volunteers who spent months on site, every day, day in, day out, helping with a spirit of service. Yeah. So, that's all from me for now. There are a few other stories, but I'll let Henry continue and then, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Said. So we've seen, we talk about the concept of weaving. So when you look at the temple, the exterior skin is basically, it's a representation of the weave. But they actually, even people talk about, it's a, the dome itself looks something weird. It's never been on the skyline of Port Moresby City, but now we have an icon within the skyline of Port Moresby City. And it's interesting because people see it as an, a circular, two-way circle, but it's actually made up of pieces of flat metals that are put together and they look as if they're round, but they're actually flat coplanar surfaces. So, and the exterior is just a representation of that concept. But when you go in, you will see the actual weave. Again, that is also been done by volunteers, hand-woven. We had initially thought of perforations on a flat metal piece. It's a mechanical thing, but when we see it, the outcome was it was like a bit more artificial. It's just mechanical. And the engineer's requirement was for 25% perforations to help with the acoustics. And so this, when we opted for hand-woven, it actually satisfied the engineer's requirement. And it was proper that way, like Said said, for the wood panels. There were forces beyond our scope that actually steered us to this human element into this project, and hand-woven. And the craft itself was on display. And so, it's a project for the community and it belongs to the community, it's made by the community. And Said has said all the acknowledgement already, I cannot repeat it, and there's so many people. We're just two people at the front, the face of everybody who has worked and at the backstage. So we will see the actual building after this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Grandpa and Mr. Lape. At this juncture, I now call upon the Governor for the National Capital District, Honourable Powes Parkop, to give his address.
Good morning, everyone. It's a great honor and privilege for me to be here with you all for this very special, auspicious occasion, the dedication and opening of the National House of Worship. In this, what I could say, an oasis in our city. This morning, I hope you all, like me, feel at ease, because the surrounding here is very serene, very quiet, very peaceful, against the backdrop of this iconic house of worship. I think it's all very appropriate that we are all here to witness this great occasion. I want to acknowledge our special guest from the Universal House of Justice, Councillor Ms. Kay Ruth. I want to also acknowledge members of the different denomination and faith who are here with the members of the Bahá'í Community, starting with General Secretary of the PNG Council of Churches, His Grace, Sir John Ribat from the Catholic Church, I want to also acknowledge the Imam and members of the Islamic community here in our country, especially here in Port Moresby, our capital city. I want to acknowledge too our political leadership who took time to be here with us, with you all, members of the Baha'i community, starting with our senior statesman, the Right Honourable Sir Julius, Governor of New Ireland. I want to acknowledge two members for Sinasina Yongumuk, Honourable Kerenge Kua. Thank you too for making time. I acknowledge too the chairperson of the National Spiritual Assembly of the Bahá'ís of PNG, Mr. Tony Lakame. Secretary, Mr. Ikorere. All the members of the Bahá'í community, those from our capital city, and many who have taken the trip to come from the length and breadth of our country to be here for this special occasion. I thank you all for coming for this special occasion too. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of my family and the National Capital District Commission, it is a profound honor to address you all today. A community that exemplifies unity in diversity, the Baha'i community, and all of you who have assembled here today. Unity in diversity is a principle that is deeply woven into the fabric of our nation. Papua New Guinea is a land of 800 languages plus and thousands of tribes. Yet we stand united, much like the Baha'i faith, which brings together people of all backgrounds in common purpose and harmony. All faith and no faith, as we have heard today. This is also the fundamentals of our nation of great diversity. It is a nation of all faiths and no faith as well. The Baha'i faith has a rich history in our country as we had today. With its seeds planted after 1916, when Abdullah Baha, I hope I got that right, the son of the founder of the Baha'i faith, envisaged the teaching of love and unity spreading to the shores of Papua New Guinea. The first Baha'i pioneer, as we also heard this morning, arrived in 1954, and with the local converts, the first local spiritual assembly was elected in 1958. This blossoming community led to the establishment of the National Spiritual Assembly in 1969, marking a significant milestone in the growth of the faith here in our country, Papua New Guinea. I'm advised that in a historic move, the national office was transferred from Leyte to Port Moresby through the acquisition of this land portion 2352, signifying the central role our capital plays in the spiritual and administrative life of Baha'i community. Our capital also, may I remind us, to also host the head office of almost all the other faith and religious organizations in our country. The establishment of the National Bahá'í House of Worship in Port Moresby is a testament to the unity and collective spirit of the Bahá'í community and indeed our city and our country. The House of Worship today is not just a physical structure, but it's a beacon of light, inviting all to come together in prayer, in reflection, and in harmony. It's designed, as we also heard from the architects and the builders, it's designed to, it's inspired by the traditional craft of weaving that symbolizes the unity in diversity that is the essence of the Baha'i faith, and it's the essence of our country, Papua New Guinea. As we celebrate the unifying power of Bahá'í House of Worship, this national house of worship, we are reminded of the unified diversity of many tribes and cultures. We are many, yet we are one. The Baha'is' teaching of oneness resonate with our shared vision of a united Papua New Guinea, where every individual, regardless of background, ethnicity, language, gender, contributes to the betterment of our society, of our country. This vision is also consistent with our role as the capital city of our diverse nation. Diversity, tolerance, and respect of each other's faith, each other's culture, tradition, must remain a cornerstone of our capital city. We must remain a multicultural, multi-ethnic, multi-religious, multinational, and multi-faith city. At the same time, we must seek to blend all this diversity into a peaceful, livable, thriving city that is the beacon of light for a nation of 1,000 tribes. Let us therefore draw inspiration from the Baha'i principle that humanity is like a garden, and each tribe, each culture, each tradition, and each language are unique flowers that add to the beauty of whole. So we must embrace diversity. It should be our strength. Together we can create a future that is as bright and as diverse as the garden of Papua New Guinea. I would like to conclude my presentation on this auspicious occasion by taking this time to call on each and every one of us, members of the Baha'i faith, Baha'i community, members of the Islamic community, the Christian community, all our people, having faith and no faith. I want to call on everybody to embrace, advocate, and practice peace in our life. Peace, I believe, is a cornerstone and fundamental virtues of all the religions that we have in the world and in our country. In our main faith, which is Christianity, it's the cornerstone of the gospel of Jesus Christ. And I make this call because in our city and our country, without peace, we cannot have a good, prosperous city in our country. So I want to call on all of us to embrace this virtue in our personal life, in our family life, in our community life, in our district and province, and our nation. Our nation will be greater. Our people will prosper when we embrace this fundamental virtue that is the cornerstone of all the faiths in the world. And today, as we open this house of worship, it is appropriate that we reflect and come to understand the fundamentals that are important building blocks of good quality life, good, useful, purposeful life, and of course, successful, prosperous nation. I want to conclude by commending the Baha'i community on behalf of our capital city for this great initiative in making a decision to build this national house of worship of all so many countries in the world, choosing Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea. I thank you all, members of our Baha'i community, and I welcome this great initiative to our capital city and our country. And I want to invite everyone, all faith, no faith, to come and pray in this house of worship. It belongs to everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I now welcome Councillor Cassia Rue, the representative of the Universal House of Justice, who will deliver the keynote address.
the Universal House of Justice, 25 May 2024. To the friends gathered in Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea, for the dedication of the House of Worship. Dearly loved friends, with hearts filled with love and abundant joy, we greet you on this auspicious occasion, the inauguration of the Masriku Laska for Papua New Guinea. The emergence of this National House of Worship is a testimony to the rapid progress of the faith across the country. We join you in expressing heartfelt praise and gratitude to Baha'u'llah, who has showered upon you his grace throughout the history of the cause in your land, and now has blessed you with this momentous accomplishment. The raising of a house of worship in Papua New Guinea, this crowning achievement, has called forth your community's resilience, resourcefulness, and determination, as demonstrated through years of strenuous labor, earnest consultation, and ardent supplication of the Almighty. Through your dedicated efforts, a sacred space has been created in which all may, in the words of Abdul Baha, gather together and harmoniously attune one to another, engaged in prayer, with the result that out of this coming together, unity and affection shall grow and flourish in the human heart. Purity of heart, deep spirituality, and unshakable faith. These attributes are inherent in the noble people of Papua New Guinea. They are the qualities that have characterized the believers in your country ever since the faith reached your shores. They are the foundation upon which the house of worship has been built. This physical edifice, nestled in the hills of Port Moresby that overlook the Coral Sea, has a profound spiritual significance. By welcoming all within its walls, it expresses the unity of the human race and the oneness of all religions. It weaves together the diverse people of this mighty nation by inviting them all to come together in service to humanity and worship of God. Indeed, souls across the country are already being stirred by these ideals. We rejoice to see how, in villages and neighborhoods, worship and service have come to form the basis of a rich pattern of collective life wherever community building activities are flourishing. In such places, brothers and sisters in spirit are learning together how they can contribute their share to the betterment of their communities. And beyond this, how they can provide the material and spiritual prosperity of their whole society. May the dedication of this temple in the heart of your nation inspire the emergence of many more communities aspiring to such noble aims. Let us rejoice, for this is the moment when faith, hope, and shared purpose all converge. May the anthems of praise that are raised within this sacred space send your spirit soaring and call down blessings upon all who assemble inside the universal house of justice.
Thank you. We will now have a closing prayer to end our session.
God is sufficient unto me. He verily is the all sufficing. In him let the trusting trust. God is sufficient unto me. He verily is the all sufficing. In him let the trusting trust. In him let the trusting
Ladies and gentlemen, this now brings us to the close of our outdoor program. We will now proceed to the House of Worship sessions.
When you enter the House of Worship, please remain silent. Ensure your phones are on silent. Remove any hats or sunglasses. Please ensure to maintain a reverent posture. Upon completion of your session, other individuals may want to sit for a little bit longer, so be mindful to exit quietly.
There will also be a group photo outside the House of Worship, and this will be guided by the ushers. Can the first 300 now proceed to the House of Worship? These are the guests with the yellow lanyards.
bunch. Oh, wow. Beautiful.
Here's some of. Copy. Yep. Yes. Copy. No, that's the full focal length, yeah.
Sini lagi Yesus, please. We lost signal.
Gabu Hanamoa. Dirava ena Hanamoa be ianoho Gabu Maragina. Bonaruma, Bonatauni, Bonataunima Nima ena Kudona. Bona Ororo, Bona Hunia Gabuna, Bona Kohua. Bona Koura, Bonatano, Bona Davara, Bona Motomoto. Bonataura, Gabu ta dekenai, Hegere diraba ena, Ladana idia guauraya, Bona idia hekoko.
Blessing and start from Ogata Little Hub. Na house, na town, na never belong man, na low mountain, na place height, all low mountain, na place down, na ground, na Solwara, na island, na Kunai, where only being single team, men belong God. Not only being Hamamase, men belong Him.
Excerpt from the Bahá'í Scriptures. O children of men, know ye not why we created you all from the same dust, that no one should exalt himself over the other. Wonder at all times in your hearts how ye were created. Since we have created you all from one same substance, it is incumbent on you to be even as one soul, to walk with the same feet, eat with the same mouth, and dwell in the same land, that from your inmost being, by your deeds and actions, the signs of oneness and the essence of detachment may be made manifest. Such is my counsel to you, O concourse of light. Heed ye this counsel, that ye may obtain the fruit of holiness from the tree of wondrous glory.
Excerpt from the Bahá'í Scriptures. Blessed are they that occupy themselves in the house of worship, with the remembrance of Him who is the Lord of the righteous. Blessed are they that arise in the service of this house. Blessed are they that have raised up this house. They enter therein in a state of peace and yearning, and take their leave therefrom with reluctance and regret. We beseech God, immeasurably exalted is He, our Lord and your Lord, to assist you by means visible and invisible, and ordain for you that which shall last long as His name shall endure. a name that overshadoweth all other names. No God is there but him, the ever-forgiving, the all-merciful.
I think they are trying to get the first group out now. The ushers are lining up to move the first delegation out of the church. The first lot leave now. Yeah. Against the closing.